Welcome to the final game of Next Gen's presentation of the 2014 Emerald City Classic, brought to you by Elemental Technologies, perfecting the media experience, and Patagonia, quality gear for athletes demanding high performance. Here we're starting off. We have Seattle Riot, fresh off their World Championship, playing Vancouver's Traffic. Right away, there's a shot. Just a little too far for the Traffic receiver.
That was Mira Donaldson taking the big forehand look to Ashley Davison. Tough angle to read it. And so Riot's getting it right away. The D-line break opportunity.
Here's Boyden up the line to Stern. Looking for Zonizer. And Bailey Zonizer. Hello. Dumps to Carr. Carr looking for Zonizer. Zonizer clears. Newly acquired Kelly Johnson out of Chicago's Nemesis. Swung around to Boyden. Boyden inside to Nora Carr. And Riot starts things off with a break.
Big first point for Riot. Riot coming in after a rough day so far, losing their first game to Scandal, 12-11 double game point, and then losing to Nemesis. But man, Zonheiser ripping that one down over Kat Hui. Chui, one of the members of the Canadian World Games team, and that was a great rip by Zonheiser. An easy put here from Angelica Boyden, the IO forehand into the breadbasket of Nora Carr. So Riot having a rough day so far coming in this game, 0-2. Keys to the game for them. They need to capitalize on their confidence. They've had a really strong season so far, excluding today, and apply defensive pressure. There's a fast-paced team, lots of athletes, very deep, very skilled.
For Traffic, they want to play a second half. They feel like all day they've really come out strong in the first half, kind of faltered in the second, and then spread the wealth. They have a whole team, 20-some-odd gals coming out here ready to play. Just spread the wealth around, not focus on one or two main players. Now Riot's set to pull.
You know, of course, these two teams very familiar with each other. They play each other throughout the club series, summer and fall, and of course on the world stage as well.
Barazan picks up, finds Chan. Chan dunks to Cham. Just a little too far. Looking for Tasha Balding. Now our fourth game with a Titcomb. Titcomb picks up.
So many Titcombs. It's like today's been brought to you by 5 Ultimate and the Titcombs.
It probably has. Here's Titcomb with it in the middle. McDowell cutting up line. Now with Kingery on the sidelines. Fakes the around, fakes the inside, looking inside. Titcomb with the around behind cut. Titcomb putting it deep to Kingery. And Kingery elevates right away. Riot coming out, first 2 points. They get breaks, they get big skies, and they're starting off hot. Looking good, Riot.
Great find here from Titcomb. Here's the turnover, just going over the head of Tasia Balding. Tasia unable to come up with it. And now high stall count here. And amazing the distance that Rory's able to get on this one. She's able to extend, get down, and then Kate Kingery just coming down with that one, climbing that ladder.
I almost wonder if the stall count wasn't getting a little high for Titcomb, and she just figured, hey, I'll take a shot. It's better to turn it down over there than try to get a dump and allow the new offense less field to work with.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was high. She'd look at both her A and B reset. Neither of them had been able to get open. I'm pretty sure it was up there, either 8 or 9 when that throw went up. Great choice from Titcomb and good execution, just hanging up there and letting her receiver make a play.
Now traffic down 2-0. They're going to look to turn things around here.
You know, Jackson, the other thing about this game, both teams missing some key players. For Traffic, Kira Fru injured, came down, got concussed on Thursday, so she's been out today. She may be able to come back tomorrow. For Riot, Sarah Surge Griffith sprained her ankle earlier today, which is a big injury. And then Hannah Kwai is missing. She had to go and actually work this evening.
There's Tui with it. Over to Barazan. This sails just a little too high. Zonizer picks up, looking downfield, dumps to Davies. Now in the middle, across the field with Johnson. Just a little too far.
Looked like Kingery had actually slowed up and stopped her cut there. Johnson put it out to space, unable to recognize that Kingery had stopped. But right now, everything is looking Riot. Traffic really struggling to move the disc.
There's Barazan pivoting on the mark. Dumps back to Chow. Now with Tui. Tui back to Barazan. Right. Out with a zone look. There's Mercer sitting back. Johnson and Zonizer on the wings. McKibben in the middle. A 3-woman cup. Kingery on the mark. Stall count getting high. Throws downfield. Laura Mason. Now Chow. Now with Tui. Up the field. Rachel Mowens. Kelly Johnson there. And that's number 5, Ashley Davison, able to read that one and stop the potential laundromat from happening. That, of course, is opening the game with 3 straight breaks.
Why is that a laundromat, Jackson?
Well, in regionals in 2006, I was playing for Ego, and we ended up going to a laundromat in between games and came out against UBC and opened the game with 3 straight breaks against UBC, who was kind of our regional rival at the time, and it set us up pretty well to go to nationals, and the term was made, a laundromat, starting the game off
with 3 consecutive
breaks. And then we kind of thought that ending the game with 3 consecutive breaks would maybe be the dry cleaners or something like that, going along the same lines. So,
well, Traffic gets themselves on the board there. You know, that Riot zone seemed to be stifling them a lot at the very beginning of that possession. But after a couple of passes, they were able to work it through and finally able to find Ashley Davison for the score.
Yeah, it seems like once they broke through, they really marched it up that sideline. Then the disc went up, and there were 2 Riot defenders there, but Davison able to read it better than the 2 defenders and comes down with it. Traffic scores. Now they're going to look to get a break back here. This is Rachel Mowens with the pull. O'Malley brings it down over to Weatherford. There's Cardenas. Now Fontanet to Goudreau. Goudreau looking dump across to O'Malley. O'Malley boosting it to Khalees. Khalees extends. That girl is fast. I don't think every women's team out here has a player quite like Khalees Cardenas. She's just speedy.
And especially when the disc's in the air. I mean, she just turns into that next gear and is explosive and has a nose for the disc. And this is a great play. Goudreau just dishing it out to space to Shannon, giving Shannon O'Malley some nice power position to work with, lots of angle to put out of space, and almost overthrows Khalees, but it's hard to overthrow Cardenas. And great job, too, of keeping her toes down in the field. She was close to that back line, and the observer calls her in.
So the teams are going to take a timeout. We're going to take a quick commercial break and be back here with more first half action. Welcome back. We got more first half action between Seattle Riot and Vancouver Traffic. fresh off a beautiful line towing grab by Khalees Cardenas. Now Riot going to see if they can stretch their lead out a little more here, looking for a break.
You know, something interesting that Riot's been doing this season, they moved away from strict O and D lines. They actually moved into what they're calling packages. And within each package, they have a handful of packages.
I'm interested about these packages. What comes with the packages?
Well, they're brightly wrapped with bows. Now the packages.
Wonderful.
The packages, they have multiple man D and man O packages, and they have different personnel for those packages, and they have different goals for each one of those packages. Now the details, they're still trying to keep a little tight-lipped about who the people are on each one and what the goals are, but we might be able to see some of that throughout this game. And what you'll notice more than anything is that there's not a strict O line and a strict D line. You're not going to see the same players out on O and D every single time. And I think that gives them a little more flexibility, especially when you're on a run in either direction. Maybe you've gotten broken a couple times, maybe you've gotten a couple breaks. You just throw out a different package and you create a whole different look that way.
Now Chan throwing it deep for traffic. Ooh, that's Catherine Chewy. Not quite able to bring that one down. Riot with an opportunity to break. Shannon McDowell picks up. Looks for Zonizer, and Chewy comes back and gets the D.
Kat Hui certainly not happy with herself after that turnover and gets that one right back on Zonizer. Oh, and the lefty backhand for the break goal.
Easy throw there from Eva Cham. Vancouver may have broken or gotten broken twice earlier, but clearly they don't want to give this one away.
Ashley Davison with the goal. Big receiver for Traffic. Makes a lot of big plays in the air. You're going to see her catching the goals very frequently.
Already her second goal of the game.
So Vancouver Traffic down 2 breaks now. And down 3-2. Trying to generate a little bit of defensive pressure on Riot. You know, for a lot of teams here, I was talking to Kier Fu from Traffic before this game. You know, for a lot of teams, and just like for Traffic, they're still coming off of Worlds. They've been off for a couple of weeks. They're just trying to get their feet back under them in practice and get better throughout the day. And it's particularly, you know, the case because of the format that we're dealing with here. You know, with every single team from the division, both men's, women's, and mixed, going into quarterfinals tomorrow. No one gets eliminated on day one, so everyone can kind of feel each other out. And certainly for Riot, who came out flat the first couple of games, this opportunity is fantastic for them. Those 2 games are behind them now. They're able to come out fresh here in this 3rd game today.
Now Fontanet with it on the sidelines. Fontanet to Weatherford. Weatherford holsters. Puts it up to Gwen Ambler. And that's Laura Mason skying for the D. Barazan. Lefty throw to Rachel Mowens. Rachel Mowens rips it to Yayuk Joffreys. And she comes down. Traffic gets that early, one of those early breaks back. It's odd. Earlier in the day, the wind was going from left to right. Now it seems to have switched, going from right to left across your screen.
Yeah, that was definitely a difficult throw with the downwind. Great towing the line there from Joffres. Able to come down with it. That's a tough forehand downwind right over the receiver's head, but just enough that Joffres is able to make a play on it.
Mowens does an excellent job of keeping that back edge down and the front edge up, allowing it to kind of sit up a little bit while it's riding downwind. If you were to flip it up and have it going the other way, then it would just get caught in the wind and fly over her head. But not so.
And so Traffic ties it up with their first break of the game. Coming on man-to-man defense and an errant throw from Riot. They are Traffic able to convert. And now Traffic will be going upwind on defense. Coach Andy Loveseth there for Riot. This is his first year as a head coach. They had a coaching committee involving Andy Loveseth, Ben Wiggins, and Mike Lawler last year. And the packages are Loveseth's brainchild.
Of course, Ben Wiggins unable to be here this weekend as he is celebrating the birth of his first child. So best wishes to him. Weatherford with it. Now O'Malley. Traffic down in a zone set. 3 on the handlers, 1 poaching in the middle, 1 deep, 2 on the wings. Weatherford up the middle, trying to break through. She does to Gwen Ambler. Now Katie Crayley to Weatherford. Weatherford to Fontanet. Not quite in, just on the line. Weatherford standing as the dump. Weatherford looking inside. Now O'Malley streaking to the corner. An easy offense there from Riot. It's kind of tough to run a zone like that when the offense is going with the wind. If the tables were turned and Riot was going from left to right across the screen, I think that zone might have been a little bit more effective, and maybe the transition needs to happen sooner, but
yeah, I mean, typically you need different shaped zones for downwind and upwind. I think that you can run zones when teams are going downwind, but they have to be packed into the middle and forcing teams really to go out wide. You can't give those spaces through the middle and over the top that are really easy, because those are easy throws when you're going down, when you can zip them through the cup or you can drop them over the top, and that's what Riot was able to do here to work it past that cup. You can run zones if they're a little more packed into the middle, and you really force a lot of those lateral swings and hopefully get the wind behind it and make some plays that way.
Right, allowing the disc to pop up in one direction or sink down in the other. Now Riot looking to get back one of those breaks they lost on that last point.
And the wind is definitely picking up here. It will definitely be an upwind, downwind game. Riot now pulling upwind.
It has warmed up a little bit, though. Not quite as cold as it once was. Rory Titcomb set to pull.
You know, coming to this weekend, Riot really has been the story of the year. They've been the class of the division, winning the World Championships as well as winning the U.S. Open. And one of the big things is getting some injured players back. Last year on the injured list was Rory Titcomb, Alyssa Weatherford, and Sarah Davis, all with ACL tears.
Tasha Balding going deep. Can't quite connect on that one. Now Rory with it. Rory Titcomb, that is.
And Titcomb, one of the best upwind throwers in the game. Fantastic throws. Great releases, great snap on it.
All the way across the field to Shannon McDowell. Now Stern with it. Stern towards us with Kelly Johnson. Johnson unmarked. Now on the side with Boyden. Kelly Johnson running up line. And Rory Titcomb trying to stomp it in. Near the end zone. Titcomb looks dump. Now with Boyden inside. That is Shira Stern with the goal. And another break here for Seattle. They're able to get back to that 2-break advantage.
And that's a big one for them too, going upwind. Great patient offense there. Traffic came out in zone after their turnover, transitioned to a man, and good movement there. Balanced offense using all 7 of the players. Easy throws, and no challenge there as Titcomb hits Stern for the break.
I was really impressed with Titcomb's throws that whole time. Like you were saying, probably one of the best upwind throwers in the women's game. She just stays really balanced and low and is able to get a lot of snap, like you were saying.
Well, she's been playing for forever. I mean, her family is a family of all-around disc players. They do things like maximum time aloft or distance stuff. And so she's been throwing distance. She was at a very young age. The first time I met Rory was when she was on the U19 U.S. team in 2004. And she pulled for that team. It was a fantastic team. But I remember the boys from the boys U19 team coming over to learn how to pull from Rory. Rory had this fantastic full spinning pull, which I don't think she uses anymore, but was able to get 70 yards on it easy.
I kind of remember, she went to Dartmouth, didn't she?
She did play for Dartmouth.
Kind of remember a story of she messed up her shoulder a while ago, and it was her right shoulder, her throwing shoulder, and so she just decided to start pulling lefty, and it was still a massive pull.
Yeah, fantastically skilled player, and it was a huge loss for Riot last year not to have her or Alyssa Weatherford and Sarah Davis, 3 of their big handlers.
Now Barazan with it for traffic, finds Davison. Davison marked by Charlie Eide. Up the field with Mira Donaldson. Now back with Maria Chow. Across to Kawabata. And it is a turnover. Now Titcomb able to pick it up. Titcomb marked by Barazan. Nora Carr coming across. Wide open. And Carr sends it deep. On a line to Charlie Mercer, and that's Bailey Zonizer with the goal. 2 breaks in a row here for Riot. I think they're kind of shaking off their last 2 performances. Just coming out here, focusing on nice, smooth offense, just allowing the other team to make the mistakes, and once they do get it, they're capitalizing on all of their mistakes.
Well, I have to say, I really like this offensive look from Riot. We didn't quite see that in the replay, but Nora Carr started off on the far rail in their horizontal. Jen Kwok from Vancouver was poaching deep way off of Nora. Riot sent both of their handlers, their A and their B handlers, both up line to the strong side of the field. Nora Carr came across and got a wide swing and had lots of time to put that throw up deep. And she had lots of time and space, and it was a very easy throw for her. It's a really pretty play. I'm not sure if that was a scripted play in their offense or if that was just, you know, players recognizing this is where I should go in this situation, but it worked out very nicely for them.
Sonnheiser always clowning around there on the sidelines. All smiles as usual. Now Katie Crayley set to pull for Riot as they look to take half here. Lots and lots of hang time on this pull. Sarah Davis on the mark. Tasha Balding. Now Chewy to Chan. Back to Balding. Balding to Cham. Cham to Rockcliffe. A little too far there. Looking for Rachel Mowens. Kelly Johnson to pick up for Riot. Johnson looking dump. Crayley clearing the space. That's a fun throw. Just around. Rockcliffe had her back to her. Now Kingery with it. In the middle with Boyden. Boyden to McKibben. McKibben around for Davis. And just goes up to Crayley. Just a little too far.
Aggressive throw there from Davis, trying to put it to the opposite shoulder of Crayley. Not a bad look, especially nice to be aggressive here on the D-line, going upwind, but it wasn't able to hang up enough in the air for Crayley to turn and get it over that shoulder.
That's definitely something that Riot wants. Crayley is an excellent deep defender. There's Rachel Mullins. Wow. Here I am just giving praise to Katie Crayley, and Rachel Mullins says, "What about me?" That's Carolyn Churchland. Finds Chewy for the goal. Traffic puts it in. That was a fantastic grab by Rachel Mullins. We got to get another look at that.
Yeah, Mullins really does a great job of keeping Katie Crayley on her back on that play and just coming down with it. Here's another look. Here it comes up. And near the sideline too, not a lot of threat, but you have to be aware of that, and that's something you have to be conscious of, which makes it even a more difficult catch. Catch is almost on her way down. And then Churchland here. Churchland actually a pickup from GB, from Great Britain. She was an alternate for the Great Britain World Games team and playing a big role on the traffic O-line this year.
She flew across the pond to come over here?
Flew across the pond. I think she's living in Vancouver.
Oh, excellent.
So traffic back on the board, down 6-4, and Riot with another opportunity to take half, this time going downwind with their O-line. You know, we mentioned a couple of the Riot injuries. Gwen Ambler also sprained her wrist earlier today, but she's playing. It's a left wrist injury.
Not quite as debilitating as maybe the right wrist. Now Mullins with the pull. Comes out of bounds. Tickham to come down with it. Excuse me, Weatherford. Take it in the middle. Just having the backfield of Weatherford and Tickham. Then O'Malley with her deep ability. It's a pretty dangerous trio of handlers they have.
Well, and I love Weatherford's throws. You know, we talked a lot about Titcom's throws. Titcom really puts up wind really nicely. Weatherford, to me, is one of the best downwind throwers in the women's game. She has a lot of touch on her downwind hucks. It's really pretty to watch.
Yeah, and earlier I was watching her when they were playing Nemesis, and she just always seems to fake. She's just really good at faking and drawing the defenders off. Now over with Cardenas. Weatherford up the line. Might get a look at a downwind huck, and here we go to Goudreau. I think she heard you on that one, Kyle.
Just so much touch. She just puts it out there nicely. Goudreau easily able to come down with it. Oh, but the dish to Titcomb, unsuccessful.
That's Laura Mason with the D.
So now traffic with a big opportunity here to score upwind and stave off halftime.
A round throw to Mowens. Mowens boosts it. Gwen Ambler's there. Laura Mason. Laura Mason comes down with it. Potential break here for traffic just outside the end zone. Oh, and that just sails too far. Now Dominic Fontanet with it. To Ambler. Did Mason get a piece of that?
I think she did. Mason's having a great game. Mowens also. That backhand throw out to space to Mason was fantastic. So much space and ate up a lot of yards.
Into the wind. That was deep.
And O'Malley with the D.
2010 Callahan Award winner out of the University of Washington Element. And Titcomb authoritatively burns a timeout. As the players take a break, we will too. Join us for the conclusion of the second half. Welcome back to the conclusion of the first half of the fourth game as Next Gen presents you with the 2014 Emerald City Classic. It's the last leg of the Triple Crown Tour.
We sure do have a lot of content this weekend here at Mini Nationals. Lots of games for you viewers at home.
Mini Nationals, I like that. That just sounds right. I don't know. All the best teams, or all the best teams that finished in the top 8 last year, I guess.
All the best teams from last year.
Right.
It's a great opportunity for these teams to get lots of reps against lots of really good teams.
Weatherford downwind. Sails just a little too far inside for Fontanet. That's Ellie Hand with the D. Hand cutting in. And Mason, not quite. Gambler pokes in and able to get the D. Now Cardenas streaking wide open deep. Not enough on that one. And Mason comes down with it. And Gwen Ambler with her second D of the point.
I think that was a point block by her injured left hand there.
Hope she didn't tweak anything more. I think she's all right. Now Titcomb picks up Ambler in the lane. Titcomb to O'Malley. Goudreau in the space.
Nice move from Titcomb to get spring free downfield. Back to O'Malley.
O'Malley looking live side, now breaks around to Gwen Ambler. Titcomb looking around, just always so balanced. Fakes the inside to O'Malley, upline. O'Malley looks inside, no thanks. Inside now, Weatherford coming back and puts it out into space. That is Laurel J with the D. O'Malley maybe focused a little too long. Titcomb seemed like she was doing quite well at getting open before.
Yeah, this is a tough point here for Riot. You know, downwind point to take half. That's 4 turnovers from this half. Really struggling. Some of the struggle looks too are on their resets. You know, areas where they've been doing a lot of practice and a lot of focus. O'Malley with 2 turnovers in this point. The hug deep where Cardenas had sprung deep and was wide open, but O'Malley was unable to get to her. And then this one right here, we're on the reset.
I think O'Malley just got a little bit excited on that one. Saw Cardenas streaking so far open that I think she just forgot to throw that one.
So traffic now sprinting to get into position here with the timeout ending very soon, and I don't think they quite got to position. It's a very narrow spread stack if that's what they wanted.
It's kind of an interesting position. I don't know if I've ever seen this before.
I don't think this is what they intend to get to. I think that the observers told them they had to stop before they got all the way to the sidelines.
So
they don't even have someone on the disc right now. So when it gets checked in, O'Malley will be able to begin counting without the person on the disc. Fascinating. Doesn't matter. Shot to Mowens.
Mowens is there. Mowens puts it up to Mason. And Goudreau was there. I don't think she thought that throw was coming. I don't think she thought that Mowens would throw it around her, but Mowens says, I will. And Mason, couple of Ds that point, and able to get the goal.
So Mowens and Mason making Riot pay for a sloppy point. Staving off halftime.
That's a tough point when you're Goudreau in that situation, because you're in the space, and if you were in that thrower's position, you probably wouldn't throw that throw, but she just knows that she can throw it right around you.
Well, and Mowens is having a heck of a game. I mean, yeah, traffic's down by a couple breaks here, but she's playing very well. Some nice throws. Just looking very strong out there.
She had that real nice grab over Crayley. A couple of big throws.
And she seems to really like throwing it to Mason as well.
Now Riot is going to have to score upwind to take half. Traffic just kind of hanging around, getting a break here, getting a break there. Now Chewy with the pull. Davis brings it down, centers to Johnson. McKibben in the middle. Cuts up line. And Chewy with the run through D. Zonizer looks like she slowed up a bit. Probably thought she was going to clear, and McKibben still wants to throw it. And that's Eva Cham to Ashley Davison. Hello, traffic. Welcome back to the game. It's 6-6.
So traffic on a 3-point run here, just putting the pressure on. You know, that Chewy D, I feel like that is classic. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've seen Chewy just run through on an undercut against top-tier cutters. She just does that all the time. I think cutters think they have space, and Chewy has such great closing speed. And a great fast break conversion there. Davison realizing it's coming up and just takes off deep.
And there in Zonainer's position, she kind of jumped up to catch it. And maybe if she just runs through the disc, which is what Chewy ends up doing, and gets the D, maybe she can beat it there and maintain possession. But That time, Chewy just a little too fast for her.
So traffic still down a break here. Riot will start the next half on offense. So getting one more break here would be huge for traffic. Traffic's on a roll, and getting this upwinder is a big one for them.
Pull there from Mowens. Ambler takes it down to Weatherford. Cardenas in the middle. Cross to Fontanet. Now Cardenas. Crayley cutting under. Now out. Now Carr in the middle. Carr looking downfield across to Crayley. And that is beautiful offense right there. That is crossfield. Every throw is a gainer. Always have the defense on their heels, not knowing where you're going to throw it, and you just execute your plan to a T.
Yeah, I think the spacing there from Riot was particularly good. Lots of great space, but not only that, but the sequencing of thrower looks and cutters. So that as they look through each one of their sequence, I'm looking to a backhand here, now I'm a forehand, and now I'm looking to the backhand. And every single time they're going to a different lane to look in, there's a cutter option there. It makes offense look very pretty.
All right, so as Riot takes half, we're going to take a little break. Please join us for the conclusion of the first day of the 2014 Emerald City Classic. Welcome back to the second half of Seattle Riot taking on Vancouver Traffic. Seattle Riot leads 7-6. They've done it with good D and smooth O, especially on that last point. However, for Traffic, they've been having a stellar performance today from Rachel Mowens. She seems to be all over the field. Big throws, big Ds, big grabs. Definitely taking it to their Northwest rival.
Yeah, I would say Mowens is definitely keeping Traffic in this game right now. Her play is the difference. It's what's keeping him close. Looks like we got an offsides call here on Traffic, so it's going to be coming back. They'll be pulling for a second time. And while Riot holds the break going in the second half, honestly, it's about even given the wind. Traffic gets to start the second half going downwind. So this is a big point for them. If they can get the point break and hold that wind, that would be fantastic for them. Tie it up at sevens.
That's Luis Tui with the pull. Luisa Tui. Ambler to Weatherford. Traffic coming down in a zone look. Maybe a little frustrated about that last point and how easy it was for Riot. O'Malley back to Weatherford. Not much space. A lot of space between the downfield cutters and the handlers right now. Really trying to spread out that zone. Weatherfield surveys and breaks to Fontanet. Fontanet rifles it. And Jillian Goudreau, excuse me. Goudreau calls a timeout right out of half.
Jen Kwok there made up a lot of yards. I thought Kwok was going to have a good look at that one. She was speeding into it, but Jillian able to step up and make the catch.
It helps when you're about 6 feet tall.
It certainly does, but Kwok made up a lot of yards. This was a rifle from Fontanet. Fontanet, the veteran on this Riot squad, puts it up. But nice aggressive play from Goudreau to make sure that she pulls that one down. And then great response to recognizing there's no one really close to her, calling the timeout. This is a big point for them. A couple yards outside of that upwind end zone to put it in.
It's almost like getting a break here, stretching their lead out to 2 as they got the disc out of half. Fontanet knew just how far to throw it so her player could come down with it.
Right on a vert stack here. Alyssa Weatherford, the one reset back in their red zone offense.
McKibben clears out. Now Weatherford around.
You know, interestingly enough, unfortunate turnover from Goudreau. What I think Traffic did, what was brilliant there, is that they went with forced backhand. And I know that's a simple change, but Riot's whole offense was predicated on forced forehand there. They were running the forced forehand, expecting to be able to set the reset up on the open side, and that really put the pressure on Riot and generated the turnover.
Kwok with it. Across to Mason. Mason now with Rockcliffe. Marked by Fontanet. And Gwen Ambler always seems to have her head up, ready to grab that D. O'Malley puts it up to Weatherford. Juggled around a couple times, but it comes down. Believe there is going to be a call here. I think Weatherford is calling a foul.
Yeah, a lot of contact on this, a lot of bodies in here. I think that's going to be a clean defense. I'd be surprised if the observers uphold that one. You know, that was a hanging throw. And I think that the defender actually got the disc first, got the disc before any contact occurred. And the contact, I don't think, was even initiated by Traffic in that situation.
We'll see what Frito rules or if the players can decide it.
Looks like he overrules the foul call.
So it is a turnover. Now Tui to pick up, marked by O'Malley. Tui looking downfield. Fontanet there. Now Mason with it on the sideline.
Riot doing some heavy poaching in the middle of the field here. Really trying to get them to throw it out wide.
Now Tui sends it deep. Just off the outstretched hands of Jessica Rockcliffe. Excuse me, Ellie Hand. Now Ambler to pick up, marked by Kwok. Fontanet cutting in. Ambler doesn't like what she sees, so she dumps to Weatherford. Weatherford looking downfield. Dumps to Ambler. Now Fontanet. Fontanet inside to O'Malley. Goudreau coming back. Cardenas to the live side. McKibben there. Looking for O'Malley. O'Malley throws downfield to McKibben. McKibben crossed to Weatherford. Weatherford inside throw just over the head of Fontanet. And Fontanet with her head up. Excuse me, over the head of Cardenas.
Right, really fighting here to work this one upwind. They're struggling. They're not looking very early at their resets, which is putting a lot of pressure on their offense. Lots of high stall counts. Here's a high stall count look, but Fontanet in the right place again.
Wow. Riot has to be really happy about their veteran players on that one because Gwen Ambler had her head up, able to get a couple Ds, and Fontanet just there to pick up the trash. Just like she's been there before.
That high stall count. Weatherford looked over to O'Malley. O'Malley really struggled to get open there, and so Weatherford just at a very high stall count trying to put it out over to the break side. And luckily Fontanet in the right place at the right time to catch that goal. It made it look like it was all planned. It was like right in the bread. It wasn't even like a difficult catch.
Just how they drew it up. Now it's Traffic's turn to go upwind.
You know, Dominique Fontanet was the original Callahan Award winner for the women's division.
I did not know that.
Yeah, 1998, I believe, for Stanford
Wow.
University.
How many? What is that? 16 years of Ultimate? Well, that's to win the Callahan Award. Plus probably a couple.
She's been
before.
playing at least 20 years.
That's
I think.
insane.
Yeah.
So she's got to be playing with at least one or two players on her team that maybe weren't even born yet.
I don't think there are any Riot players that young. I think the youngest player on Riot currently is Shira Stern at 22 years old.
Close. So she was
Shira
like
was
one.
2 years old, like
One or
toddling
two.
around.
Crazy. Here's Eva Cham with it. Now with Barazan. Chewy. In the middle, back to Cham. Cham across to Chewy. Chewy marked by Crayley. And the lefty, not quite enough spin on that to make an easy catch for Barazan. Now Titcomb to pick up, marked by Davison. Inside break, a round break, excuse me, to Mercer. Now Mercer to Crayley, Crayley to Titcomb. Titcomb across to Burstein. Now Titcomb gets it back. Around to Boyden. Boyden knocking on the door. Riot looking to get their 3rd point in a row, and Kelly Johnson with the nice lefty grab toes the line. Kelly, very athletic. In her spare time, she is a CrossFit trainer, so.
And she's been pretty quiet in this game, but she is a huge pickup for this Riot squad. Played for Nemesis for a number of years and was really the spark plug for that team, and a huge pickup for Riot this season. Just adds another dynamic element to their offense. And there she is getting open. This all created by Rory Titcomb's break throw, and then Angelica Boyden with a nice step around forehand to get that one to Kelly Johnson. There you see Surge Sarah Griffith on the sideline. She's out with a sprained ankle if you're just joining us. Sprained it in the Nemesis game, in the 13-10 loss they had to Nemesis.
Looks like she's not limping around too bad, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, she came down. She made a really nice grab up in the air, came down on the defender's foot and rolled the ankle. Carted off and taken to the trainers. But yeah, she definitely looks like she's not on crutches, which is good.
Yeah,
she's
exactly.
not limping too much.
Didn't break anything. So Riot leads 9-6, and Titcomb with the pull. Tui centers to Chow.
Looks like Riot's calling that one down. Here's another look at it. That's close. That's a close call.
Pretty close. It's a tough call.
You know, I'm not sure about this, Jackson, but I thought that was an immediate referral call. That if someone on the defense called the disc down, the observers were supposed to make an immediate ruling whether it was up or down. And I'm surprised it took so long to work that one out.
They did rule that it was down, so now Riot with an opportunity to score 4 in a row. Titcomb picks up. Breaks to Kingery. Kingery just outside, and Zonizer, her 2nd goal of the game. Kingery with the inside throw. Quick work there from Riot. Riot really expanding their lead. Traffic before, when they went down earlier in the game, they were able to bring it back. See if they can dig deep and get out of this hole that they've dug themselves into. It's going to be tough going into the wind.
Yeah, coming out of half, Riot scored 3 straight, including 2 upwinders, which is going to make it very difficult for Traffic. And I'm sure Riot, after their tough first couple of losses, have to be working on focus through the second half, making sure that they put this game away. And that was, you know, that turnover happened on an unforced error, throw into the ground. You know, it's not like Riot's putting a lot of pressure on them right now. I mean, this is just Traffic needing to turn it around a little bit.
Right, that's what Riot was doing earlier in the game. They were allowing Traffic to make the mistakes, and they were just capitalizing on them. Then Riot kind of started making some more mistakes along with Traffic, and they started trading in there. And now Riot seems to have really reeled in their offense and just taken what the defense has given them.
So earlier I said that Dom Fontenette was the first Callahan Award winner. I was actually incorrect. Val Kelly at UPenn was the very first Callahan winner, and Dom was the second.
Now Balding with it on the side. Marked by Stern. Barazan working it nicely through the cup. Over to Barazan. Back to Balding. Now with Donaldson. And disc goes up, and Katie Crayley comes through and gets the D.
Looks like Mira Donaldson, the thrower on that throw, is going to call a foul. Speaking of players who probably weren't alive when Dom Fontenette started playing, Mira Donaldson, the youngest player on Traffic at 20 years old.
Dump to Balding, marked by Kingery. Cham with it. Back with Balding, now Barazan. Barazan, big fake. Gets the defense to commit to Balding. Inside to Cham. Cham just sails a little too far.
Be interesting to see how aggressive Riot is here. They're near their own upwind end zone. I imagine they're going to look to put it very early in this possession. Try to get a lot of yards.
Oh, wow. Cham with the point block. The disc just pops up, and Fiona McKibben able to come back and get it. Now Kingery with it, and Kingery boosts it to Fontenette. We do have a foul called. You know, I want to go back to the keys to the game, and one of the keys to the game for Traffic was play a second half. And so far, hasn't quite gone that way. And as we can see, if they're not capitalizing on their keys to the game, they're not quite as much in it. Just down 10-6. Here's Kingery with an opportunity.
There's like some discussion on some positioning here. Kingery with the disc.
Stern with it. In the middle. Back to Kingery. Crayley in the lane. Crayley going deep. Stern up line. McKibben in the middle. Across the Fontenette. Kingery going deep. Disc goes to her. And that's Mercer coming down with it. Looking for Kingery. And Kate Kingery making things happen here in the second half. Pushes Riot's lead up to 5.
I love Charlie Mercer's read on this and her body and physical play here. She really owns that space and goes up for it, and then the easy dish here to Kingery. You know, the Riot offense there, after that pick call that slowed things down for a second, they got very aggressive. They started moving the disc, their handler started moving really quick, and we're gonna flip over to the Patagonia play of the game.
Came in the first point, Bailey Zonizer. It's gonna go up to her. She just makes a nice full extension grab.
Yeah, it really just roofs Hui here. Right up over the top of her on this hanging disc. Great vision, and just catches it at the height of her jump. Very nice.
Good things from the Clown Girl.
I don't think that's her first play of the game.
I don't think so either.
Not her first rodeo.
Rory Tickham with the pull. Elects to go with a bit of a roller. Chow with it to Jay. Jay to Mowens. And Mowens boosting it right away to Mason. Connection that was working a lot for Traffic when they were going on their runs earlier. And Mason sneaks it in there to Daviow. Traffic able to stop the bleeding. They now trail Riot by 4.
Moen's really on fire in this game. I mean, she's doing everything right. That was a great forehand downwind, again to Mason, her favorite receiver. And Boyden almost able to pull this one back for Riot, but just enough for Traffic. You know, I mentioned earlier that Kira Fru not playing. Another big player that Traffic's missing right now is Crystal Koo. Both of them big handlers for this Traffic O-line, and just adds great throws and opportunities for breaks for them. I don't think this is the same team we're going to see when the series hits for Traffic. I think Traffic's going to have some bigger weapons out there.
Do we know what injury Kira Fru is out with?
Fru is out with a concussion. She thinks she may be able to play tomorrow. Seems like a pretty mild concussion.
Pull goes up. Gwen Ambler takes it down. Weatherford with it. Cardenas in the middle. Little spinning back catch. What would that be? Maybe a roundhouse catch or something? I don't know. I couldn't quite think of a name on that one. Cardenas looking for a reset. And Ambler puts it deep. Excellent throw there to Rachel Bradshaw. And all of a sudden, Riot is 1 point away from taking the 3rd seed out of this pool.
And this is a big game for these teams. The loser of this game is going to finish 4th in the pool, which is looking like Traffic right now. And they're going to face off against a red-hot Brute squad tomorrow morning in the quarterfinal round. This is a great shot here from Gwen Ambler. Lots of speed on it. You know, it's not a typical downwind throw, but Bradshaw was already pretty far downfield. So right into her hands. Bradshaw, a speedy receiver for this Riot squad. And Gwen just doing what Gwen does.
It's not her first rodeo.
Nope. Gwen really coming off what was a fantastic World Club Championship. She was all over the place in the finals, making plays, big layouts, big catches, big throws. You know, she's been doing it and getting it done for years, both here and with Fury, as well as with Stanford in college.
Seems like wherever she goes, the team is always in contention to win the national championship at whatever division she's playing. Now Titcomb with the pull. Gets away from Cham. In the middle with Balding. Across to Chan. And a turnover right on the goal line.
Now Shannon McDowell with the block on that swing attempt and giving a very short field here for Riot.
Titcomb to pick up. That's Burstein in the middle. Running a dominator. And around to Charlie Eide. She's able to come down with it. And Riot takes the victory. So they will go on as the 3rd seed out of this pool into quarterfinals.
Nice D there from McDowell. Just gets her arm out there. And then slow, patient, end zone offense. And a nice little round to Charlie Eide.
Just want to thank our sponsors real quick again before we sign off. Elemental Technologies. Perfecting the media experience, and Patagonia. Quality gear for athletes demanding high performance. So this game will conclude our coverage of the 2014 Emerald City Classic, at least the first day of it rather. Join us tomorrow where we have quarters, semis, and finals. For Kyle Weisbrod, I am Jackson Kelsey. On behalf of the Next Gen crew, thanks for watching, and we will see you tomorrow.